When it comes to gadgets for your home office, printers are generally pretty low on the totem pole for most of us. That is, until you need it. In this video, I'm going to talk about things to consider if you're looking to get a printer for your home office. Hi everyone, welcome to another Tech Talk with Samir, where I talk about anything and everything related to technology in my life. Over the last year or so, most of us probably bought some equipment for our home office to accommodate for working from home. Maybe you bought monitors, a mouse, a keyboard, or maybe even just a desk or a chair. One thing that likely got overlooked is a printer. We often feel like it's not exactly essential. And for a majority of the people, I hope that's true. We should really be reducing the use of paper to reduce the impact on the environment. That being said, unfortunately, every once in a while something creeps up on us that requires physically printing something. Maybe it's a contract that requires an actual signature rather than an electronic one, or maybe it's a form for an application that requires you to physically mail something in. In those situations, if we don't have a printer handy, we often find ourselves scrambling to find a friend who can print for us. The reality is that some people will need a printer on a regular basis and some people will need it maybe a couple of times a year. But regardless of the frequency, if you're looking to get a printer, here's a few things to consider. The first question you need to ask yourself is, what exactly do you expect to be printing for the most part? Is it just documents? If so, can it just be black and white, or does it need to be color? Or do you expect to be printing photos on special photo paper? Once you've established the types of printing you'll be doing, you can start to think about what type of printer you should look for in terms of technology. When it comes to consumer printers, there's really only two types of printer technologies to consider. One is laser printers and the other is inkjet printers. The fundamental difference between the two technologies is that laser printers use toners that are in powder form, while inkjet printers use ink that is in liquid form. They both have their pros and cons, and depending on your printing needs, one may be better suited than the other. For example, when it comes to laser printers, they're generally better for printing documents. They tend to be quite fast when printing large documents. They're also fairly low maintenance since the toner cartridges have high capacity and typically last a long time before you need to replace them. On the flip side, laser printers tend to be more expensive up front when compared to an equivalent inkjet printer. Also, when the time does come to replace the toner cartridges, they tend to be more expensive as well. They're also not ideal for printing photos, especially on photo paper. Although laser printers are fast when printing large documents, it can sometimes take a while to warm up before it actually starts printing. When it comes to inkjet printers, they're generally better for printing photos, especially if you want to print on glossy photo paper. Also, if you get an inkjet printer, it's almost guaranteed to be a color printer, whereas for laser printers, you normally have to pay a premium price for color. Also, inkjet printers tend to be just cheaper in general. They also tend to be smaller, so if space is an issue in your home office, then you may have a better luck finding an inkjet printer that fits in your space. But inkjet printers also have their share of cons. For example, the ink cartridges tend to have much lower capacity compared to the toners for laser printers. Also, since the ink is in liquid form, if you don't use it often, it can dry up over time. Although it's less costly to replace these cartridges, you'll just be replacing them more often. So in the long term, the costs can add up. Also, inkjet printers tend to be not as fast when it comes to printing large documents. So when it comes to high volume printing, you're probably better off going the laser printer route. Once you've established what printing technology you want to go with, you want to then decide on whether you want something that only does printing or if you want to perhaps go with an all-in-one type of printer. The major difference is obvious. The all-in-one printers do more than just printing. They can scan, fax, and make photocopies as well. But if we're being honest here, the only real additional feature is scanning. For a lot of people, this is an important one. The days of having standalone scanners are long gone, and if you want a standalone scanner, they're pretty rare and likely quite expensive. So the best way to add a scanner to your home office is to get an all-in-one printer that can do scanning. If you do choose to get an all-in-one printer, make sure to get one with an automatic document feeder, preferably one that can scan double-sided pages. This can be really useful if you're trying to archive some documents without having to actually keep the physical copies. If your scanner can't scan double-sided pages, then it's a lot of work having to flip the pages manually to scan both sides. With all-in-ones, you do get the ability to fax, assuming you still have a home phone line. And this is also one of those features that you likely won't need it until you do. For some odd reasons, there's still organizations out there that only accept documents via fax. You can also do photocopies with all-in-one printers. Although it's no different than just scanning and reprinting, it does make it a lot more convenient. The final thing to consider when buying a printer for your home is connectivity. For this, you need to consider what devices you'll be printing from. If you're planning on printing from just one desktop computer, then any type of connectivity will work. At the very minimum, the printer will be able to connect using an USB cable. Although for some odd reason, printers typically don't come with these cables, and that's an additional $5 to $10 that you may have to spend. If you want to use your printer with multiple devices, then you probably want a network connected printer. This is great for a household where you only want one printer to serve several members of the house. Most modern printers nowadays at least have an Ethernet port to connect to your home network, but a lot of them also have Wi-Fi capability. This can be a factor depending on where you want to place your printer. If you're placing your printer where you have access to an Ethernet port, then this really doesn't matter. But if you're looking to place the printer at a random location without Ethernet access, then you may want to look for one with Wi-Fi capability. That being said, I have noticed that performance tends to be much better with Ethernet than Wi-Fi. So if possible, I would recommend using Ethernet rather than Wi-Fi. Another thing to consider is whether you plan on printing from an Apple device like an iPhone or an iPad. If you do plan on printing from an Apple device, then you'll want to make sure that your printer is AirPrint compatible. A lot of printers these days are compatible, but make sure to check before you purchase. Once you've gone through this exercise, you're ready to go shopping for your printer. For majority of the people, I would recommend getting an all-in-one laser printer as it will be a better value over a long period of time. I personally have a Brother all-in-one color laser printer and it's pretty feature-packed. I did get it refurbished from Amazon, but it has performed great so far in almost 2 years. And even after more than 1500 pages printed so far, the toner cartridges that came with the printer are still at 2/3 capacity. Let me know in the comments if you've switched to a paperless lifestyle or if you still like to print your documents for reviewing. Hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. As you know, this really helps with my ego and gets me motivated to bring you more content going forward. Stay safe and I'll see you again on the next one.